Welcome to Life in Times of Kato. I am your host, Jay Kato, and in today's discussion, I would love to reintroduce myself. I haven't formally introduced myself. I just started a show. I didn't bother with discussing who I am, how my what I do for a living, my family, things like that. It wasn't terribly formal. It was just shoot from the hip, go crazy, right? And that's kind of how I handled this show. So I'm going to take this opportunity to formally introduce myself after 100 videos, right? But let's start with me, right? My name is John Mercado, 47-year-old male, right? Married for 20 years, which you guys have known. I have 4 children and I am a sales supervisor. I grew up in Brooklyn till about the age 11, moved to the Bronx after that. Had various, life experiences. I was the kind of guy that kind of enjoyed life, enjoyed people, kind of, very, very even keeled, never really got too much into shit. I always kind of walked a fine line of being able to get out of things. I never put myself in a position that wasn't reversible, and I did that because there was advice that was given to me when I was very young, and it's something that stuck with me for my whole life. Never make a mistake that you can't reverse, right? And that's something that stayed with me for till now. It's advice that I give my children. It's advice that I follow. So anyway, long story short, that's basically my personality. I was even keeled guy. I don't like to ruffle feathers. I don't like my feathers to be ruffled. You know what I'm saying? I like to walk a path that's very, calm, cool. Let's think about our situation and how we're going to handle this situation before we even start making moves. Let's think about all the possible outcomes that can occur. Of course, you can't plan for all, but think about all the possible outcomes that can occur before you make a decision. You don't ever want to be stuck in a spot that just like, man, I can't, I wasn't anticipating that. You want to anticipate some form of what you believe can possibly happen. So that's kind of how I attack all things. I didn't really like school. I hated school. Actually, no, that's not true. I didn't hate school. I just didn't like going to school. I skipped school a lot. And, was a very cool guy. I had a lot of friends, some acquaintances and some people that I really, hung out with and stuck with. So fast forward, all different types of relationships throughout life, like we all have, some good, some bad. The serious ones are the ones that always stick out, right? Your first love, your first real relationship, your first relationship that you spent time in, the first relationship that you really devoted, adult styled life, right? I've gotten to a point now where I've accepted those things. I've accepted, the learning processes that they all give, even though at the time you don't always feel like you're learning something, because you might fall into a hole and you're just like, shit, man, this sucks. I never want to feel this again, or screw this person, that person, or whatever it is, right? And that's how you might feel at that moment. But the truth is that it's really it's a learning experience. And I try to make sure that I'm aware of that now more than ever. So, being 47 and now being married for 20 years, having 4 children, and, kind of leveling out and changing your ways and being more of an adult, right, is what we all strive to be, have a nice, calm adulthood, right? I try to attack things that way. Those are all my takeaways through life. And I'm guessing it's because that's how I've always attacked life, that I'm lucky and fortunate enough to now come to a place where I kind of understand that a lot of what it is that I'm experiencing are life lessons, are things that I can take away and make them applicable, you know, it's a blessing, and I'm grateful because a lot of people don't have that. Some people do make mistakes that can't be reversed. And I want to take social media, for example, which this might be a bit off topic, but it's kind of on topic, right? Social media, for example, for what it is, it started one way and now it's become something entirely different. But one of the most beautiful things about social media, and this is my experience, these are things that I've come to learn. The experiences that I've had with social media was finding, not just finding old friends, but it's finding old friends and people that you knew, whether they were acquaintances or people that you knew very well. But it does give you, to some degree, an opportunity to not just say hi and reacquaintance yourself with them, but it also does give you an opportunity to revisit things that you remember that you may have, done that person wrong, or whatever, or even that person may get you to remember some shit that you did and that you don't remember. But it gives you an opportunity to make amends. It gives you an opportunity to reflect on who you were at that time and what you've learned and how far you've come. So I applaud social media for that. I think social media is fantastic for that. And because of who I am and how I process information, I do appreciate it for those things. So anyway, this is just a formal reintroduction and just kind of me rambling a little bit. But it is a get to know me style kind of video, and it's something that I didn't do before. Like I said, I just shot from the hip and just kind of started talking about things that I've experienced and how I evaluate things, and how I get daily takeaways and stuff like that. I've never really expressed who I was, where I come from, which, by the way, I didn't tell you guys. Uh, I am Hispanic. I am Puerto Rican. My wife is Chinese and white, and my children are very mixed. Right? So that is another about me that you don't know. Not only that, I'm fortunate to have married my wife and have someone who sticks by my side when I fall short, when I don't do things in a way that you know speaks volumes, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes, carrying the weight of being a man, and what a man should look like and how he should act, and what he should do. Sometimes I fall short of that. I'm not terribly handy, so that's always been a thorn in my side. I know tech, right? I know tech. I know life experiences. I know things like that, right? So I'm not terribly handy, and sometimes those things haunt me, right? Uh, but the point I'm making is in those moments, you kind of, you're falling short, and it's an honor, to have someone who stands by me and understands my shortcomings, whatever those are. That's one of many. That's the one I just chose to choose at this moment, but that's one of many. But I have someone who sticks by my side even through those shortcomings. I have someone who is very old school, if I could say that. And I don't mean that in a way that's demeaning, right? I'm not. She's very old school and takes care of my family very well. She works a full-time job like I do, but she takes care, cooks, cleans, like a lot of women that are out there, right? I do my part. I help out, where I get in, where I fit in, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But I do, help out, and I do play my part, play my role the way I'm supposed to. So again, it's a blessing to have someone like that, because you do hear people's stories. You do, whether it's a male or female, doesn't matter. You hear horror stories on how relationships end, and the reasons why. Some of them are very sad. So I find myself very blessed in a way that I have someone who really fits, and fits me. It's like two puzzle pieces coming together. I've known my wife since I was 14 years old. She was my first girlfriend in high school. You know, I moved away for a little while, and we found ourselves back. I moved away. I moved to Florida for like 8 years, and after 8 years, I came back to New York, and we found each other again, and you know, that's history, right? There's a lot more to that, which, of course, over time I'll share more. But again, this is just a way of me kind of formally introducing myself, getting my audience to know who I actually am, because I never really did that. So again, this might be more of a ramble, which I'm sure it is, but I will cut this up into little pieces to make it a little bit more cohesive, to make it a little bit more coherent. But in any event, do what you do it well, do it the best way you know how. Jay Cotto, I am out. Peace.